Hello everybody, I'm Katie Burtwell from the Walpole Historical Commission.
And I'm Betsy Dyer from the Walpole Historical Society.
When we began to plan for Walpole 300, we decided to ask Walpole seniors their memories about living in our town. We taped the interviews, and now it's time for everyone to see them. Walpole Media will publicize the names of each person along with the dates each interview will be shown.
The history of a small town like Walpole is not just about the big mill owners and politicians like the Byrds and the Lewises and the Plimptons. It's really all about who was living there, working there, going to school, how they were part of this community and living their everyday lives. I think historians of Walpole 100 years from now will be grateful to come across these transcripts or tapes because these are part of the real Walpole history they'll be interested in. And I think you're going to enjoy these. Maybe you know the person that's being interviewed, but perhaps you just enjoy a good story, and there are lots of good stories here.
So sit back and learn about Walpole history from those who live it. This is Stories of Historic Walpole. Hi, this is Katie Burtwell from Stories of Historic Walpole, and today we're interviewing Gloria Deneen, who has very deep roots in this town. And how long have you lived in Walpole?
Well, in April it'll be 81 years.
81 years.
Yes, I'm a true townie.
Well, would you like to share with us today?
Oh, there's just so much to say. I mean, Walpole was so perfect when I was growing up. I mean, it was a small town. You knew everybody. My dad had a shoe shop. My maiden name was Monacchio.
Yes.
My dad had a shoe shop down right on the main drag, and I would go down and help him in the store sometime, and you just knew everybody that came in. Of course, the mills were so busy, Kendall's and all. And a lot of his customers, were from there. And it was just a warm and cozy town. And now when I drive through, I shudder when I see the apartments. Oh my God, I wonder what my dad would think, Yeah. I mean, the town, it's just not a small town anymore. And I know that's happening everywhere. That just seems to be the norm. But it still doesn't make it easy to take. You driving around. I mean, we used to walk downtown and up.
Now, where did you live when you were a kid?
Okay, I lived on Stone Street.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I don't know how long you've been in Walpole.
About 45 years.
Yeah. So, we lived halfway up where the condos are on the left.
Yes.
Just really halfway up.
By the bridge.
Yep. What used to be the bridge.
Yep.
And the train went right by, right by
Yes.
us. We had 2 acres of land, so we had a big farmhouse, then a big barn, and then 2 acres of fields, and we had chickens and whatever. And my brothers used to play ball in the field, their friends would come down. And then if you walked further up the field, there was woods and a pool and a pond. So we could skate right beyond our house, and we sledded down the tracks from the railroad.
Yeah.
We'd sled down there. And we were always out doing something. And then in the summer time, we always had to get up. We always had to do some reading. So we'd go sit on, my 3 younger sisters and I, we'd go sit on the front lawn on a blanket and we'd read. And then we'd do a couple of chores. And then at 2 o'clock, boom, you went down to the pool.
The pool.
And you were there until 5 with all your friends. So,
yes.
I mean, it was so easy. You biked everywhere, and you knew everybody downtown. You would go Watson's Candies.
Yes.
I mean, we would stand on the sidewalk and watch Harriet was her name, and watch her, do the candy. And then there was O'Neill's Fisher Market up there where you could go get all your fresh fish right up by there. Swenson's, and across the street was Holt's. And,
my husband worked for Holt's.
Yeah. So Holt's was a great shop. And then you walk down the street and there was Beatro's, and there was my father's shop, and you could go into Beatro's pharmacy, sit up at the counter, have an ice cream soda, have a sandwich, talk, meet people there. It was just, and the small markets like Tony's Market and Joe's Market. We just bought so much of it. My mother never went in the supermarket. She never drove, so first of all, she never went in the supermarket. So we'd pick up things, in the markets, right there with our friends, and everybody just knew everybody,
Yes.
Really.
And you felt safe.
Yeah, we felt really safe, and I feel bad for the kids today because they don't have that, they don't have that small town feel, and you just, of course, we didn't have telephones, and I think telephones are what's ruining these kids because they're just always in front of their phone, and
Exactly.
they don't know how to
Talk to each other.
and it just wasn't like that. We'd get home from school or wherever, give a friend a call. I'd meet her up top of Ellis Street. We'd walk down the library, during school time. Yeah, always kept those friendships. Always, I have one girlfriend I just lost a year and a half ago. I met her in Plimpton School.
Mm-hmm.
So I walked to Plimpton School.
Oh, it was an easy walk.
Yeah, for grades 1 to 6.
Yep.
And then I went over to the high school. In the back of the high school was 7 and 8 and 9 maybe. And then the other part of the high school was 10, 11, 12. So for 12 years, I walked right up the hill, to school all the time. And so, you just, and we went home for lunch. I don't know if you ever heard that.
No.
Yeah, we went home for lunch for the 6th grades that we were at Plimpton School. And I remember telling my kids that once we were just talking. They said, "What do you mean you went home for lunch? Who would be home?" I said,
All the mothers.
Come on, everybody. Well, my mother didn't drive and she didn't work, so she was there and she had lunch ready.
Yes.
And we'd have lunch and then we'd walk back to school. And they thought that was hysterical that anybody would do it. But if you talk to people, my age and around, towns like this, I'm sure this is what they did.
Yes.
Yeah, you really did.
And in the 50s, we had no problem with kids just going everywhere they wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the 50s, that's what you did.
That's what you did.
Because you were safe.
You said if you biked or you walked, met up with friends, and yeah.
And you knew not to get in a car with a stranger, so.
You did, but you knew it, but it wasn't something that had to be talked about all the time because it just didn't happen.
Didn't happen, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Walpole, I think, had 11,000, 12,000 people, so it was small. You knew everybody. You had the band concert and fireworks, and you just, everything was in this town. In fact, I really didn't even know what East Walpole was when I was a kid. To me, it was like another
It was
town.
another village.
Yeah, it was like another village. And then my dad, he would start out during the summer taking Wednesday afternoons off, and he would take us to Bird Park, and we'd have a picnic and swim, because of course they had a pool there.
Yes.
And that was that's the only thing I knew about East Walpole. And it's in much, much, much later years that, East Walpole is a nice little place itself.
Yes.
And a lot of my high school friends were from East Walpole, but I just didn't really know the area at all.
Yeah.
That's how specific I was to Walpole Center, and yeah.
You were limited by how far you could ride your bike, basically.
Yeah, truly. And, I kind of don't ever remember needing anything else,
Yeah.
I had 3 younger sisters. My 2 older brothers were off, doing whatever. Some worked, sometimes with my father. And, so we would hang together all the time, So that was just kind of the way it was. And it was wonderful.
Yeah.
It was really wonderful, And I'm still in touch with so many. I graduated in 59.
59.
Yep. And we still get get-togethers. In fact, one of my friends, he lives in Florida, and he called me, I don't know, it must be about 6 months ago. I think it was last summer. And he said, "Gloria, how you doing?" Blah, blah, blah. And then he said, I'm going to be up in Walpole. And he said, I don't know who really is around anymore. I've been gone so long, but, I wouldn't mind, getting together with people. You know what I mean? So anyway, he called me when he got up here. I said, "Call me when you get up here," because he didn't know for sure. And it was like on a Tuesday. And he said, "I'm here," he said, "but it kind of shorter than I thought. And we're heading home Thursday or Friday." I said, "If you can give me Thursday, I'll see who I can get."
Yeah.
So I had 15 classmates
No
at my
way.
house waiting for me on Thursday.
You had your own reunion.
Yeah, you know, and I
That's
have like a big
great.
table, really as big as this in my dining room. And, you know, we just all sat around and, you know, people brought food or whatever. And we were there a few hours and he was impressed too, you know, because he hasn't been around a lot. And, but that's just the way it is, you know. And we've always had reunions. In fact, after our 60th, we decided that we were going to just meet together. So last October, which would have been 63 and a half or whatever. I mean, we're not going to wait, you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Why
I
wait?
do. I wait.
You know, because it seems we're always losing classmates. We had to get together down at Conrad's.
Yep.
And we had 30 classmates that day.
That's
that
awful.
came in. Yeah, it is. And as a matter of fact, one of the girls who was helping me plan it all, she says, I want to get a cake. I want to get a cake and, you know, have some cookies or whatever. I said, okay. So I want the cake then. To say, class of 1959, friends forever.
Oh.
In fact, I have a picture of it. She did that. She ordered it that way, and yeah, everybody loved it, and that's the way we feel.
Yes.
You know. And since October, we've lost a classmate who was there.
Yeah.
You know. So I mean, you just when you get to this age, it's you know it's tough. You don't dwell on it, but you like to see who you can see when you can see them, and that's the thing, and that's what I think the kids are missing.
Yeah.
You know, my own grandkids too.
Yeah.
You know, and because they're just always in front of them.
Always on the phone.
Always on that phone.
Yeah.
And that's, of course, we didn't have it, and I'm glad we didn't,
Yeah.
you know. In fact, my kids used to think it's funny because we had a big old farmhouse, and there were 8 of us living there, you know, my 2 brothers and my 3 sisters. And we had one phone. They said, what do you mean you had one phone?
Well, of course we had one phone.
Of course. And if you went to answer the phone and somebody was already talking, it was the second party.
The party
They
line.
said,
Everybody
"What
had
do you
a party
mean?"
line.
They could not get that through their heads. They were like, you mean somebody else shared your line? I said, yes. And if you picked up the phone and somebody was talking to somebody, you said, oh, excuse me, you know, when you're done, you know?
Yeah.
And sometimes they would hang up if they're almost done, or they'd say, you know, give me a couple minutes or whatever. There was never, you know, a real whatever, you know, never. It was just, that's the way it was.
Yeah.
You know, who thought of all these phones, really? And it was definitely just for communicating. It really wasn't for socializing at all.
No.
Because, no. You know, you'd pick it up and say, you know, okay, Karen, would you like to go to the library? I'll meet you there at 7. That's pretty much what it is. And then you met and talked.
Yeah.
So different.
It is.
So different. And I know things change, and and I try to accept that. I do. And because my kids laugh at me sometimes. But I just don't think, I think we had it the best. I
Yes.
think we had it the best. I think, and maybe the kids today think they do, you know, just thinking about how we grew up. But I don't know, it was just wonderful.
It sure was fun.
Yeah.
Because your mom would say, you know, I'll see you at supper time.
Yeah.
My mother used to blow a whistle. And we'd all
I
come
tried that in
home.
my neighborhood. That was funny. Or we would have to go in when the streetlights were on. You know?
Yes. Yes.
But the thing is, too.
But in the summer,
oh,
if they didn't turn on until like 8 or 9.
9 o'clock. Yeah, that's true.
Oh, that was
we
the
knew
best.
Better. Yeah. But you know, it's just like we had winter from before Thanksgiving into April. We could skate all the time. You're younger than me. You don't remember that, but we always had snow and ice, and you know there was always things to do.
And you skated on Clark's Pond.
Clark's Pond, Memorial Pond,
Yep.
and the pond up beyond our 2 acres of land. We had a pond up there too.
Mhm.
It was up behind the tracks. So we had 3 ponds that we could walk to and skate, and you know the boys would make fires, you know, and it was just fun.
Yeah.
It was really just fun, and you didn't really get time to get bored. And then when I was in the 5th grade, I think.
And this is at the Plimpton School still?
Yeah, still
Yeah.
5th grade, but at the house, my father bought a TV.
Oh,
Right.
man.
And it had a screen.
That's
like
how big
this.
they were.
That's what, and you sat and you just watched. And then if you had to change the station, you got up and went over and changed it. Imagine that.
They didn't have clickers until like 1970.
Oh, And before we got the TV, in the den, we had this radio that was, you know, a good-sized radio.
Yeah.
And we would go in there and sit down on the floor, and we'd, you know, listen to like, I can't remember who the heck they were in those days. Like the Lone Ranger had a show, and there was one, it was kind of a scary show. I can't even remember the name of it. Was it The Shadow? The Shadow, I think.
The Shadow knows.
Only the Shadow knows. And I would sit there thinking, oh, well. But, you know, you would sit there together all doing that. You know what I'm saying? And it just, you were always together. It was family time.
Yes.
And I feel so bad, really, that this is gone, because I don't think it's for the best. And
I agree with you.
keep hoping that that'll change, but I'm not so sure. You know.
I wanted to ask you, what relation were you to Ernie?
My brother.
He was your brother. Well,
I adored him.
He was the hero of when the Episcopal Church caught on fire in '91, and he was on the fire department.
Yep.
And he went in there and saved artifacts and old files, and he kept going in and in. And they still talk about him there to this day because he didn't have to do that.
No.
So he was very brave.
Yeah, we lost him too soon.
Yes.
We did. He was a great guy. He was my older brother, and I just idolized him anyway, you know.
I bet you did.
Yeah. In fact, when his wife and I became very close, you know, once they were together, and then when I met Joe, and we were all together, and if she said something negative, not that she did a lot, you know what I'm saying, but if she said, and I'd say, oh, I don't think that's really right, and she'd say, yeah, but you think he walks on water. I said, I can't help it, he's my older brother, and I just always felt that way, you know? Yeah, so it just, we lost him much too soon.
Now, how long did your dad have the shoe shop?
I think it was 40 years, maybe.
Wow.
I wish I had looked up the months, but I think it was about 40 years.
And he was right on Main Street.
Yep, right smack on Main Street.
Yeah.
And in fact, when you look at that picture, you can see that it had a window, because he sold shoes too. He did not only just repair. And so we would 3 to 4 times a year, we'd have to go empty out the window, clean it all off, and then decorate it for the next whatever was coming up, you know.
Isn't that
back to school,
awesome?
Christmas, whatever. It was kind of fun.
I bet.
It really was kind of fun.
See all those new shoes?
Yeah.
Before anybody else did? That
absolutely.
Must have been a thrill.
And he was just an amazing guy, and things were just so different then, you know, like back to school. People would come in and they'd have 3 or 4 or 5 kids, and they'd need shoes going back to school. So
That's right.
My father would sell them, and he'd keep a log, and I'd say, first time this happened, I said, well, Mrs. Woman didn't pay for her shoes. Don't you worry, Gloria. She's going to come in and pay 50 cents, $1 a week until they pay for it.
Isn't that lovely?
Yeah. And when I got older, I started sending out bills for him, and always could not send out to certain people.
Yes.
You know, and when he closed up the shop and we got everything all together, I can't tell you the money that was owed him, but to him, that was the way you did it. You know, you took care of people who needed the help, and there was just that was just the way it was done. And it really taught me a lesson, you know, it's just like the almighty dollar, you know. He didn't mind. He just was helping these people, and the kids went to school with new shoes.
That's right.
You know, not looking like, you know,
poor kids.
Yeah. So he did his share in help, and I think other people did too in the town, you know.
Yeah.
I'm sure they did. That was just kind of the way it was done. Yeah. So my dad was a cool guy. You know, he came from Italy by himself when he was 23, I think. And it's really amazing when you think about it. You know, I went to Italy finally in '94.
Did you?
Yeah, I just was a wonder. My 7 other family members and cousins and aunts found his town where he was born and where he learned to be a cobbler, and it was just pretty interesting.
And where was his village? What was it near?
He was Bruzzese, so
Oh.
yeah, so it was, yeah, not too far from Rome.
Yeah.
So we got to see everything. It's funny, if we were kids in the car, and if we were driving up a hill, he'd say, "One wrong move and goodbye, Jack." That was always his, right? And my mother told me before I went over to Italy, she said, because they went there on their honeymoon. That's the first time he went back. And he was married at 34. But he'd been here 14 years already, and he went back for his honeymoon, and they stayed there about a year. And she said, going up to his village, she said, that's the way it looked. It was like just a, and when I saw it, I said, no wonder he said that. Because like, his house was on the inside, but the house across the street, and there's small streets.
Yes.
The back of the house was like on the cliff.
Oh
you
my
know?
gosh.
And that's why he always said that. One wrong move and goodbye, Jack. Oh, he was just, saying things like that, and just really, a nice place to grow up. It really was a great place to grow up.
What of all the things you remember, what would be your number one recollection of something that happened in town?
Something that happened in town.
Do you remember the Schaefer fire over on South Street?
Oh my God, yeah.
Tell me about that.
I was in high school then.
Yes.
And so
You would have been, what, 14?
Yeah, about 14.
Yeah.
We walked down from high school because you could see the flames everywhere,
Yes.
And I knew some of the women that worked in that place, and it was amazing that we lost nobody.
Yes.
Because my friend's girlfriend was working on the top floor, and they had to bring in a ladder to get her out. She was one of the last people getting out, and they were very fortunate. And they lost their home, which was on that street.
Yeah.
Yeah. And another
It's on
home.
Gleason Court.
Yeah, Gleason Court. They lost a couple of homes. And
They sure did.
Yeah, that was a scary day. Really scary day. When you got out of school and you could just see this big, big flames, Yeah.
They didn't put it out till the next day.
Yeah. It was different days and different times,
Yes.
Equipment-wise and everything. Really, when you think about it, But that was a scary thing.
And do you remember when downtown flooded?
Oh,
After Hurricane Diane dumped its water?
Yeah. Oh God, we loved walking down there and seeing that. God, that was a mess.
It was. And they didn't get around to fixing the problem until the 80s.
Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy.
Yeah.
We're just so fortunate that it didn't happen again.
Yeah, I know it. But the snow and the snowstorms, it was just wonderful. I to this day like snow, and I hear people, I say, I hope we get one good one this year, and they say, oh my God.
Oh, I love it. I love it too.
Yeah, it's part of growing up.
It's thrilling.
It is. It really is. I don't know what's going to happen now tomorrow.
We may have more snow than we want tomorrow.
Like, I'm so glad March is here. I said, March is not here.
Yeah.
Yeah. March is not here. Oh my gosh. Yeah, just different mindsets. We had two theaters in Walpole.
There was the Elite, and then there was the one in East Walpole, which is now the Peggy Lawton.
Peggy Lawton, yeah.
Cookie place.
But that was, they had like a, what do you call it? A bar where you could have sandwiches and ice cream and, booths, and then you went into the theater in East Walpole, yeah. And the theater in Walpole was down where, it's not open now, but down the bottom of Main Street. What was the name? TD's.
TD's.
Yeah, it was in around that building. Yeah, I'm not sure if it was part of TD's or whatever, but I remember.
That was Ollie's before it was
Yeah,
TD's.
yes,
Yeah.
it was. But I remember going there to the movie with my two older brothers, and I must have been 4, so they were like 7 and 9.
What a thrill.
A thrill, but anyway, we saw Judy Gardner, The Wizard of Oz, and I was petrified. And
it is a scary movie.
When you're that young, and I was with our two brothers, and I'm sure they were no consolation, and I just remember sitting there, and I've never liked the movie. My kids all loved it, and I just really couldn't even sit and watch it with them.
The Flying Monkeys.
You watch it. I don't need to watch it.
You're going to die when the sand runs out. It's like, what?
Yeah, I know it. I know it. That was a little spooky, but it was funny to have the theater right there.
Yes.
And we could walk up to my dad's store and get a ride home.
That
Yeah,
was
so
handy.
it was funny. Yeah, yeah, just a totally different way to live. Totally, totally. I'm sure the kids hearing it today would think, what a boring life, but
But it wasn't.
no, it just
Because
wasn't.
you knew how to entertain yourself
Absolutely.
and you had imagination.
Yep, yep. And, you know, we just played together all the time.
Yeah.
Like games. And, I mean, I'm a gamer to this day. I love playing dominoes and cribbage and just all kinds of games. I have a cupboard in my downstairs bathroom that is loaded with games, just loaded with games. And I've always taught my kids to play games,
Yeah.
you know. And when I played with them, they never won unless they won. I didn't let them win. That was my theory, you know.
Yeah, you're right.
Why should you let them win? They're not gonna lose, you know, and they'll tell people. Yeah, we never learned that, you know, we had to learn how to play. We never were allowed to win. And, you know, and they agree now. They're saying, you know, that was just great, and their game is too, you know, we play
Are
games
they?
a lot. Yeah. Yeah, I just still love games.
So you love the senior center here,
Oh, I
and
love the senior center.
what all do you do? Do you take classes or
I
you
do.
just
I do. I take a drumming class on Tuesdays. It's an hour.
That's awesome.
And when I first heard it advertised, this was so silly, I thought we were going to be entertained by drums. And I told my sister, I said, let's go down, you know, and see this thing. Well, it's not you being entertained. I don't know if you've seen it at all. You got a bucket about this tall, and on that bucket you got one of these big blow-up balloons, enormous balloons, and it's right in front of you. And you
Yeah.
get the sticks, and she's up on the stage, and she's playing the music and walking you through, and you're exercising. You're drumming, you know, this thing, and moving, and you know, I mean, it's quite a workout.
That's awesome.
Quite a workout. It's so different than anything I don't know what I was thinking of. But so I've been doing that since they first introduced that. It's been, you know, a couple of years. That's once a week. And I do some art classes. I'm not great at art, but you know, and I've done some classes making things, you know, like
Yeah.
crafts.
Yes.
Yeah, crafts like that. I do a class with Steve. He does balance work, and
Yes.
I find that helpful to me at this stage. And then there's always different things going on, you know, different meetings, and every Thursday there's a different thing, like a speaker,
Yes.
or, you know,
Coffee and conversation.
yeah. And I pretty much go to all of those, yeah. And then not only that, I mean, you sit downstairs and you know, hi Gloria, I mean, you just know so many people.
Yeah.
And at this stage, especially since I lost my husband, and my husband was really involved in the town for years and years and years. And the funny thing is, when I met him, he was from Quincy, because I was from Little Walpole, and you know, we started dating, and then I could tell he's getting serious. And everybody, when I tell this story, I said, Joe, you know, I really like you, and you know, I don't know where this is going, but I can tell you right now, you're a city boy, and I will never live in Quincy.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you now, this is what we hadn't been dating too long, and we never did. We settled here.
I love
and
it.
He was a selectman. He was on the, you know, where they go every year to vote. My mind was a little bit different. From the time, in fact, I did it for a while too. You know, they'd go to town meeting members.
Yes,
And
town
For
meeting.
years, he was on the capital gains committee. He was on the finance committee. He got so involved in the town. It was like his
good.
town.
That's
So that's the one thing about the senior center, because I remember him being at the groundbreaking.
Yeah.
I've got a picture of him with his red cap, you know. And
Yes.
so he was right through the building of it, and it was opening in January of 2019, and he passed away in November of 2018.
I'm so sorry.
Right before it opened. Yeah, so I felt bad about that, but I think of him so much, you know, here. And he, you know, he did his part. A lot of people did,
Yes.
but he did his part to get this built. And it's such a warm feeling. I don't know if the kids even, my kids do. They understand when I'm down here, because you know, I'll come down like I'm here for now. My sister's playing pool,
Yeah.
so I'll watch pool for a while.
Yeah.
You know, and then I'll go downstairs and have a cup of coffee and meet up with people. We play Rubik's Cube. You know, I could be here 3 or 4 hours.
Well, who wouldn't want to be here?
You know, yeah, I live right up the street.
Yeah.
I could literally walk here. And it's just a nice place where you're known, people know you, they look out for you, and there's interesting things going on.
It's a little touch
Yeah.
of how Walpole used to be.
Yeah, really, when you think about it that way, yeah, it is.
Well, I'm so happy you came to talk to us, Gloria.
Yeah,
And I thank you so much.
You're welcome. I didn't, when you mentioned that, I thought, and then I thought, well, I know a lot about this town.
Yes, you do.
I love it.
So thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.